Welcome to the Locked On Wizards podcast. It's your hosts, Ed Oliver and Dialante Daniels. The Wizards come up short 103 to 118 to the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young just took over in that second half. Kristaps Porzingis did tie his career high in rebounds, but it wasn't enough to get the dub tonight in Atlanta. We're going to talk about that and the lottery odds as well. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. All right, D. So what went wrong in the second half for the Washington Wizards?
Whew. A lot of Trae Young, man. A lot of Trae Young. He took over in that third quarter. He started getting to the free throw line. Wizards were in the bonus, and then next thing you know, Trae Young ended the game with 12 free throws and 11 for 12 from the free throw line. I mean, he tore him apart. And you add on to the factor of the other guys, like the Mavs game, for example. Luka Doncic kills you. That's fine. He's Luka. That's going to happen. Trae Young kills you. That's fine. He's Trae Young. That's going to happen. But really, man, the Bogdanoviches and the Gallinaris of the world, you can't give up 26 points and 18 points to them. That I think that's really, what was the biggest factor there. And then that, like I said, that third quarter with Trae Young, man, taking over. I think he scored 14 points in the third or something like that. But
yeah, he did.
That was big. That was a big momentum shift right there for the Hawks, and he got getting the crowd into it, doing the push-ups. So yeah, a lot of Trae Young is what went wrong in that second half.
Yeah, I echo you again. But yeah, just my major takeaways. I mean, yeah, it was tough for him. They put Denny on him. They tried to double team him. He caught Denny's hands in the cookie jar a little bit. That's where Denny, he's a really good defender, but he does have to learn, how to not be too physical and a little too handsy with guys, especially Trae Young. The refs, he knows how to manipulate the refs. He knows how to sell the flipping his head back and flailing and ripping, putting his arm under Denny's arm or the defender's arm. He's like really, really good at that. He's really good at drawing fouls, and just creating contact. So it was a learning experience for Denny and some other guys. But yeah, like you said, Gallo went crazy. How many threes did Gallo hit tonight? Gallo hit 4 threes. It felt like he hit 7, but he had 26 points and 10 boards. I mean, he just literally took over the game at one point. And Bogdanovic, he was an unsung hero tonight for the Hawks tonight. 18 points, and he hit 6 threes. All 18 of his points were from the 3-point line. Transition threes. Turnovers hurt. We had a couple forced errors, especially the first quarter. We had 8 turnovers in that first quarter, but it calmed down in the second quarter. In the second half, we just went back to turn the ball over with unforced errors, and they capitalized on that, and they scored. But yeah, we really couldn't guard Trae Young from the pick and roll at all. Like, he abused us, getting the ball to Clint Capella, getting the ball to their younger big man for a couple of lobs and easy pick and rolls as well. And Trae Young, he just put on the clinic tonight. He finished with 20. He finished 30 points and 11 assists. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he went crazy. Like you said, the push-ups on the sideline, getting the crowd hyped. The third quarter was definitely the tail of the tape.
Yeah, and then another thing you can look at, their shooters were hitting their threes, man. Like you said, with Gallo, he was hitting his threes, and then Bogdanovic, he was hitting his threes. And you look at the Wizards, they only shot 28% from the 3-point line. So it was tough. It's tough when the other team shooters are hitting and then your guys aren't hitting and you're missing. Rui was 0 for 5 from the 3-point line. Corey was only 2 for 7. Denny was 1 for 7. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to combat that when you're shooting bad and the other team shooting well. And then you're turning the ball over on top of that. And the other team is getting to the free throw line. So all those things combined, man, is a recipe for an L, a 118 and 103 L. It's a recipe for that.
Right, yeah. And it's still head scratching that West. He put Porzingis and Gafford in at the same time, but they were only in for like 2 seconds. And the one time that they were in, they had a fast break, and Porzingis made a nice pass to Gafford for a dunk. So
Mhm.
it was kind of like, why not go back to that? So and I thought they waited too long to do it anyway. They finally went to in the game before where they won. So yeah, I was a little confused why West didn't go back to the big man lineup, but hopefully they get into it next year and continue with that. But we do want to give Porzingis some props too. We'll talk about him next, having a career high in 18 rebounds, and then we'll talk about who of the young guys played the best tonight. But before we get into that, this episode is brought to you by Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, including this week's Masters Championships odds, podcasts, and reviews for all the different leagues this season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast. Nightly recaps of every NBA game with analysis from our local experts is free and available wherever you get podcasts. All right, so what were your thoughts on Kristaps' performance tonight? 26 points, 18 boards, 8 for 16 from the field, 4 for 8 from the three-point line. He had a double-double of 17 points and 10 boards in the first half, played 32 minutes. What were your thoughts on Kristaps, and does he encourage or make you more optimistic about the Wizards season next year?
I mean, it definitely makes me more optimistic having a player of his caliber, because the Wizards haven't had a player, this caliber in the front court. And I don't even know since I've been a fan, so 26 points, 18 rebounds with 4 assists, 2 blocks as well. It was a good performance. He got to the free throw line, shot 6 for 7 from the free throw line. So he continues to do a good job at that. I know now you'll get the arguments of, empty stats, because anytime you go to a bad team, you start putting up big numbers. People just start saying empty stats. So he'll have to deal with that. But I'll be interested to see, his role when Brad comes back and Brad returns as the number one option. Right now, he's the number one offensive option right now. He took the most shots tonight. He's been heavily featured in the offense. I think it will be the same for next season. But I am curious to see how him and Bradley Beal will work. But I mean, him in the number one option role, I mean, he's been cooking.
Right, yeah. I mean, he's shooting the ball well. He's the last couple of games he shot the ball well from the 3-point line, 4 for 8 tonight, finishing around the rim. That one step back three, I think it was like a shot clock buzzer beater on Capella. I mean, he was, giving Capella some pump fakes and getting to the basket. He just showed how he was the unicorn tonight. And not only that, defensively blocking some shots as well. So I love that. Playing with Gafford as well. I think going into next year, they can play really well together. But yeah, he has shown that there are nights that he can be a number one option, a number one scoring option. He is a guy that you can run an offense through. He's a guy that you can just throw the ball down to in the post, and he can get a bucket, a turnaround jumper, or turn around and dunk the ball. Yeah, there are times where we want him to be more physical. But yeah, he's playing really well. And I think he's taking advantage of the opportunity to be featured as a number one guy. And knock on wood, he has stayed healthy. These last couple of games, we saw him, one game he turned his ankle, got right back up, went back in and played hard and finished against the Pistons. So yeah, so far I've been impressed with Porzingis, man. All the negative things that were said from, previous critics or media members or whoever from his previous team. I think he's definitely taken that criticism and he's played really hard and he's shown a lot of fight and toughness out there so far. But what were your thoughts? Who out of the young guys, Rui, Corey, and Denny, and maybe Gafford, out of the young guys, who do you think played the best tonight?
I mean, it was some struggle. Rui definitely struggled. He grabbed 6 rebounds, which was good. He struggled though. Denny, he had 6 assists and 7 rebounds, so that was good. Shooting wise, he didn't shoot the ball well. Then he kind of had some fouling issues there with Trae Young. That's always a difficult challenge guarding a guy like Trae Young, who's really good at getting to the free throw line and drawing fouls. Gafford, I mean, he was 5 for 6. He had the really nice alley-oop, with Ish Smith. He had 1 block. I mean, if I had to go with somebody, including Gaff, I guess I would go with Gafford. Corey, he was 5 for 11, 2 for 7 from the 3-point line. He had 3 rebounds and 3 assists. Uh, it wasn't the best game, from the young guys today, but that could be said for a lot of people. It struggled shooting the ball today. KCP had a very low scoring game in comparison to his streak that he's been on lately. So it was kind of a calm down for a lot of guys. So I guess I will go with Gafford.
Yeah, this was a tough one. Nobody really stood out tonight.
Yeah.
Like you said, Denny, he tried with some effort guarding Trae Young, and he had another 5-5-5 game, which is, like I said before, it's not easy. 9.6 assists and 7 boards, but he did struggle from the 3-point line, 1 for 7. He had a couple wide open threes and just couldn't knock them down. Same thing with Rui, 0 for 5 from the 3-point line, 9.6 boards. Kind of got lost in the sauce on one pick and roll in the beginning of the game. And Corey, I thought he played pretty well. 2 for 7
Mhm.
from the three. Had a solid game shooting the three, but yeah, just nobody really wowed you and stood out. And Gafford, I thought he could have rebounded the ball a little bit more. Only one
One
rebound.
rebound. Mhm.
Yeah, so I was expecting more rebound the ball, but finishing around the rim, that alley oop was nasty. Him and Ish, that chemistry is really, really good that they have right now. Ish had 6 assists, but yeah, out of the three, it's a tough one. Uh, yeah, I do like how Denny went at Trae Young. I thought that was good. I thought he should have did that a little bit more. They were picking on because Tomas was picking on Trae Young too when he had that dunk in the beginning. I thought they should have tried to go at Trae Young just a little bit more. Using Trae Young, kind of, he's not the best defender in the world. But yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
this is a tough
we
one
got
too.
the too small again from Denny today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did do that again. Yeah, he's playing. He's being more aggressive. I love that he's being more aggressive. Um, Yeah, it's a tough one because nobody stood out. I
Mhm.
guess I'll go with I'll give Denny some love again. I'll give him some love.
Yeah, like I said, it's tough. I mean, they did other things, which is always
Mhm.
good, as far as rebounding and assists, so moving the ball. But it wasn't the best game, obviously. If it was one of their better games, the score could have been reversed. But the Hawks have been a tough matchup for the Wizards all season. I mean, they won the season series 3-1. The Wizards won the very first game, and the Hawks won game 2, game 3, and game 4.
Right. All right. We're gonna get into some lottery all odd talk here. So let me pull up the standings. The Knicks did play tonight too. Who they're another team fighting for the lottery odds here. So the Knicks ended up losing tonight. They played who they play.
The
They
Brooklyn
played the
Nets.
Nets, yeah, and they
Mhm.
lost 110-98. And we do play the Knicks on Friday night, which is the last home game of the regular season. So we'll do a quick preview after we talk about the lottery odds real quick. Excuse me. So we are right now. Houston's the worst team, so they have the best lottery odds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right now we have the 11th worst record. We're tied with the Knicks for the 10th worst record in the NBA at 35-45. So the game on Friday night is going to be huge with lottery odd implications. If you are team get better lottery odds, this is a huge game for the Washington Wizards. A huge game for the Knicks too. And then there is a stat about the lottery odds. If you guys didn't know, if they finish ninth, they have a 20% chance to get into the top four, to get a top four pick. Now, if they finish 10th in the lottery odds, they only have a 10% chance to get in the top four. So that's a pretty strong difference. D, I know you brought up the whole Pelicans thing that one year where the Wizards were, kind of back and forth with the Pelicans to get that spot. And guess what? The Pelicans ended up being eighth or ninth in the lottery odds, right?
Yeah, I believe so. They ended up being ninth, I believe, and they ended up jumping all the way up. Yeah, they jumped up to 1, and they were, I believe, eighth or ninth or something like that. They were up there. They were up there in the odds. So yeah, you can get lucky. I mean, you can get up lucky. So who knows?
Yeah, you just never know. I mean, they could get it. Benedict Mathurin. You see where he falls. I don't think he's going to get past 9, in my opinion. If I just had to bet money on Bet Online, Johnny Davis, guys like that, I think they could use one of those guys. But if they do end up with the 10th pick, there's still some talent there. But getting a top 4 pick, that would do wonders for the Washington Wizards' future. But let's before we do head out, let's get to a preview against the Knicks. What do you want to see? What's your keys to victory? And I guess we'll do a bold prediction. We haven't done a bold prediction in a long time. What's your keys to victory against the Knicks?
Keys to victory against the Knicks. They got to rebound the ball. They got to rebound the ball. I don't know. Mitchell Robinson was out with an illness or something like that tonight. But they had Sims in there for the Knicks. He grabbed 13 rebounds. RJ Barrett's always on the board. He had 7. So they got to definitely be tough on the boards and defend the 3-point line. Don't let guys like RJ Barrett get hot or Alec Burks, especially Fournier. You can't let him get hot and start going off. Just play tough, man. Make the Knicks take tough shots, and play hard and move the ball around. Keep the turnovers down, definitely. So I say mainly keep the turnovers down, rebound the ball well, and just force the Knicks into taking some tough shots, man. You can't give them easy looks by having them have 11 steals on you. So, and just play hard.
Right. Yeah, just play with some effort. Developing and winning at the same time is not easy, but it's something that they can do against the Knicks. I would say run the offense through Porzingis once again, get him the ball, get him involved, and I think some of this is going to be on coaching for sure. Let's try that Gafford and Porzingis lineup again. Jericho Sims is a smaller big. I think he's only like 6'10". So against Porzingis, I think he should give them some matchup problems. Obi Toppin is starting as well, who I did like coming out of Dayton, but he's only 6'9". So I think this is a game where Gafford can have a solid game, especially if Mitchell Robinson doesn't play. This is a game where some of the bigs can take over, kind of like that Timberwolves game where they can really take over. And just ball movement. Saddle's doing a good job of that. Ish is doing a good job of that. And, when you get open threes, you got to take advantage of them. Tonight we had some open shots. We just weren't able to knock them down. And like you said, turnovers. We shot ourselves in the foot a lot, unforced errors. And defensively, we just got to step up. RJ Barrett is playing well. Evan Fournier. Julius Randle hasn't played. We don't know what's going on with that situation over there. There's rumors about him wanting out, so we don't know what's true or not going over there with the Knicks. But, just keep it simple. Push the pace, run the floor, run the offense through Porzingis, ball movement. Denny, run that point forward position. Just do the same thing they did against the Timberwolves, moving the ball and facilitating, knocking down shots, pick and roll, Ishmael and Gaff. And I think they'll be fine. So I know there's a lot of people rooting for the lottery odds. So this probably is the lottery bowl. Like we said before, this game is not going to be on NBA TV anymore. It got moved off probably since the records. But what's one bold prediction? And we'll probably head out.
I'll say that Corey Kispert makes 5 threes. I think he had a good game. I know he had a good game against the Knicks up in Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say he'll be hot. I'll say he'll stay. He'll be hot against the Knicks. I say he hits 5 threes.
Okay. I'm gonna say Zingis goes off for 40, man. I think he's been getting high. I feel like he could have went for 30, 35 tonight if he played more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say he goes off for 40. That's pretty bold. It probably won't happen, but like I said, it's a bold prediction. So, but yeah, tomorrow will be part 2 of our episode with the Wizards of Gallery Place, Damo and Brendan. We appreciate those guys coming on, and they were gracious with their time, so we want to thank them again. Make sure you guys follow those guys on Twitter, and make sure you guys subscribe to us on Locked On Wizards on YouTube and hit the notification bell. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. And make your second listen Locked On NBA. Locked On experts covering the biggest stories around the NBA every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. All right.
And before we go, I actually have the 2019 draft results. So the Wizards were actually that year, they were 6th, and the Pelicans were 7th. So the Pelicans jumped 6 spots. The Wizards dropped 3 spots to go to 9. But the Hawks jumped 7 spots from 11. So they had the 11th lottery odds, and they jumped all the way to the top 4. So I don't know. Maybe the Wizards, they beat the Knicks or something. They get 11 and they get lucky. Mm-hmm. But that's the official how I officially went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you just never know. The Wizards don't get a lot of luck. That's for
Yeah.
one thing. But hopefully we can get something going this year. Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you for listening. Hail to the Wizards.